Hello and welcome to my model railway. Today I was thinking of doing something different. I'm going to just do a short, probably you could class it as a historical review of certain locomotives. Now there will be steam locomotives, a few different variations, and just before we go on to any further onto the review, I'd just like to say one or two words about this copper situation. I can't understand really, to be honest, what the whole thing is really too concerned about. In a way, I can understand certain factors, but not the whole thing. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens next month when it all comes into the throes, and see what decision I have to make on that matter. In the meantime, this video, to be honest, is suitable for all ages. My grandson, who's 5, 6 year old, he does watch a few of my videos, and there's nothing strong or offensive in them. All it is, it's just basically my model railway, and trains running on them, basically, and I can't see what harm there is in that. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter and my disclaimer, if you can call it that. So we'll carry on and we'll bring in the first locomotive to just do a short review on it. And just pulling into shot now, we've got a A3 class London North Eastern Railway locomotive, and it's the it's the most famous locomotive probably in the world, I'd say. It's 60103, which is named Flying Scotsman. Now this locomotive basically started its sort of life on the North Eastern Railway, running up and down the east coast between London, King's Cross and York, Edinburgh, it used to, in its early days, it used to haul mainly passenger trains between them, mainly two cities. In my eyes, it's a great locomotive, and it's still, to this day, it's still running. After, of course, major overhauls in its time, but it was developed in the 1920s. I think it was 1923 or 24, somewhere around that sort of date. But it really is amazing to be able to see it still running, as it was then. But obviously, it's had one or two things done on it to bring it up to date so it can run on the network. But well, that's it, to be honest. There is a lot more you can say, but I don't want to confuse people about all the engineering jargon and this, that and the other, so we'll go on to the next one. Right, here we have our second locomotive, which is basically a Class A4 locomotive. Again, it was built for the London, North Eastern region, which became the London North Eastern Railway, and it was introduced in 1935. It's similar to the previous one, the Flying Scotsman, but the main difference is this one's an A4 where the Flying Scotsman was an A3. It's got the streamlined body design, which, as you can see, it's got the slope in front. and it has various other differences, but the main difference is the slope in front, as you can see. If I point there, slope in front there, and it was basically, it's just the body shell that, and underneath that, the actual covering, there is the same firebox as the Flying Scotsman, and it was designed mainly for streamlining, so it could basically run faster, pulling the train, and it makes it more streamlined, so less wind resistance, and which is what it did. In the later years, it was actually a world record speed, land speed rail beater. It broke a record, and it did. I think it was about 126 point something 7 or something like that mile an hour on a run between London and Edinburgh. So it is a world-beating locomotive. It's a great loco, and to this day, even now, it's still running. But at the moment, it's in the National Railway Museum up at York. But it still does work if needed. And basically, well, that's it on that locomotive. So let's drive it off and bring in the next one. Okay, so the next locomotive to come into the picture it's an A1 class locomotive, 60163, and it's called Tornado. But there's a difference with this locomotive. It is not so much a veteran, it's actually a modern day locomotive, whereas it was rebuilt in 2008, and it took 18 years to build it from scratch to the same specifications as the original A1 class locomotives, which ran in service around 1940s, 1945, somewhere around there, and they were built by a chief engineer, designer called Arthur Peppercorn, and this one also, well, not this, but the class itself actually ran for the London and North Eastern region. Now, one of the differences with this locomotive, like I say, it's a new one, 2008, so it's not that many years old. It is running at the moment on the modern day network, and it's a bit of a celebrity really, because it's actually been in a few TV films, programs. One of them was, I can remember rightly, was Top Gear, where they did a race to the north competition. The other one that made it more famous was Paddington 2, the movie. One of its main sort of claims for fame, it was the first steam locomotive in modern day use to actually reach 100 mile an hour in running service, and the last time a locomotive of this type ran to that speed was in about 1960, so this one is, like, you know, well up there, tops of the league, I should say. It's owned by the A1 Steam Loco Trust, who actually built it up in Darlington, which was one of the areas where they used to build locomotives for the LNER. And like I say, it's running at the moment in service, and it's doing pretty well. It's had one or two setbacks, but they've managed to get it going, and keeping it going well and truly into the future. So that's that one locomotive. And here we go, we have another locomotive pulling into shot, and this locomotive is a class A2, which is number 60532, and it is named Blue Peter. It was designed by Arthur Peppercorn and came into service in 1948. It was originally named after a racehorse. It was built at Doncaster in 1948, and it cost a princely sum in them days of around £10,000. Basically, when you think a locomotive of today's, to build one is going to be in the millions. So in them days, £10,000 I would imagine was a lot of money. It was withdrawn from service on British Railways, where it used to run on the London North Eastern Railway on the east coast of the country, between London and Edinburgh, and then eventually it ran between Edinburgh and Aberdeen, I think it was. It was withdrawn in 1966, and it was going to be scrapped, and then it was bought up, and basically there was a programme set in motion to basically rebuild it and get it back into service. It was renamed in 1971 by the Blue Peter TV programme to Blue Peter, which is now today. It's been in and out of service a few times. It had a bit of an incident in 1994, I think it was, somewhere up on the northeastern region, around Durham or that specific area, and it was taken out of service due to damage to some of its cylinders. It's currently, at this moment in time, it's under overhaul. I think it's the London North Western Railways base in Crewe, so they're hoping to get it back into service and bring it back onto the main line for charter work. Basically that's it. You'll probably be asking yourself, am I prejudiced to all other different regions of British Railways? But the answer is no, I'm not just stuck in one region. All these locomotives you've seen today are London North Eastern Railway locomotives. I'm not an avid admirer of this company locomotives, but I do like them. They are great locomotives, icons as well. And the other locomotives they've got, which are from different other regions, like LMS region, will be for a video on another day. So that's it really. There you go. Well, that's about it for this video. So this video was basically, well, not actually specifically this video, but I was asked to narrate a specific video to give certain information by a certain person who I do work with, a work colleague. Her name is Magda. She asked me if I'd do a video, like I say, with a bit of narration in it, which is what I've done. So if she's out there and you're watching this, Magda, comment on, or let me know when you see me next time at work, what you think of the video, and can there be any more improvements. So there you go, and that's it. Thank you very much, and see you again sometime.